What's up, everybody? Brooks and Blaine back at you with another episode of the Abrazo Football Podcast. Mr. Guerrero, my friend, how are you doing today?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. Actually, no, man, I'm not good. Well, I am good, but you know the state of affairs. Chelsea is officially out of every competition that they were in this season, and there's really no reason to watch them anymore. So on one hand, get on with spring and summer, but kind of sucks. They had one, hanging on by a thread and then get dumped out of the FA Cup. So that was rough. How about you?
Yeah, but did you really have a high hopes?
Listen, my thought was Man City played Madrid in the Champions League during the week, and they got ran ragged. It went all the way to penalties. I thought they're tired. They're making a handful of mistakes in the league. I thought it wouldn't be unreasonable to think that we could have won that game 1 goal or 2-1 or 1-0. Especially, I feel like we had some opportunities and we just didn't take them. So
Pep said the same thing. Pep said that was just unfair for them to play 120 hours after going 120 plus minutes. Or not even 100. It was like 2 days, right?
Well, okay. Actually, let's talk about that for a second. So what he said actually does have some merit, right? Because they played. Was it Wednesday night in the Champions League, or was it Tuesday? Yeah. It doesn't matter. Whatever day it was, they played either Tuesday or Wednesday in the Champions League, and then they turn around and play the early game on Saturday for the FA Cup. Meanwhile, today, Manchester's playing Coventry as we record. 3-3, by the way, people. Coventry going through to the final. Neither of them played midweek. I don't even think Coventry played last weekend. And they're like, yeah, we'll let them play on Sunday. So, I understand. At the very least, they could have, switched the fixtures and say, hey, Man U, Coventry, play Saturday. Chelsea, Manchester City will play Sunday. But they're like, nah. We're gonna put all the stress on Man City. He said it's a campaign against the blue moon.
Come on, this dude's crazy. But also, Arsenal played Wednesday and then Saturday again, and then I don't know if you heard about the debacle in Serie A. There's 15-20 minutes left against Roma's. I forget who it was that they had to basically call the game with 20 minutes left because there was a physical emergency on the pitch. But
yeah, I saw the game got abandoned.
Yeah, so they're trying to have them make up the game a minute and a half before they play Leverkusen in the semis for the Europa League. So I don't know. People just don't care. It's all about money, and they just don't care about the players. It's a lot of stress on these players.
Yeah, I'll say this. So I was listening to some radio the other day, or it might have been even this morning, where it's. If I'm to believe what I heard on the radio, Manchester City or whoever, all these clubs, they could, in theory, if they wanted to play at different times or have their games scheduled differently, they could. They just wouldn't get the revenue from the broadcasting.
Really?
So for example, we'll just use the Manchester City Chelsea game. So whoever, I don't know, because I don't live in England anymore, I don't know who has the rights to show the FA Cup.
Yeah.
But whoever they are, they're like, yo, listen, we are hosting the FA Cup, go to all the teams, and the semifinal will be played Saturday, Sunday, the Saturday game will be at this time, the Sunday game will be at this time. Does this work for you? And if it works for you, then there will be an agreement where we give you so much money to broadcast the game. Mm-hmm. So someone at Manchester City would have had to have agreed on this. And the same thing would go for the Champions League. They would have known, if we make it to the semifinals in the Champions League, we'll play, April 16th, 17th, whatever. And then if we go and also do a semifinal, or I guess it was a quarterfinal and a semifinal in the FA Cup, we could potentially be playing on the 20th or the 21st. And so someone, probably not Pep Guardiola, probably no one that's actually involved in the sporting, someone in the financial side, but someone, just the point they were making is don't get mad at the FA, don't get mad at let's just say Amazon Prime. You should go talk to whoever your CFO is and ask them why they are accepting the money and not negotiating better terms for when the game should be played. Not saying that they should. It's just it's your team.
Yeah, that's an easy way out for some pundit to say, though, right?
Huh?
And so that's like an easy way out for some pundit to say, like, don't blame it on us, the media, blame it on. It's just also like, I don't know. You think that. I mean, I guess like there is a point. Like the FA Cup does not care who you play 2 or 3 or 4 days or a week before. They don't care. Their only incentive is to get you to play.
Yeah, so I think the argument was like have your team represent your interest better. And I mean, I don't know how that would work, but you could say, listen, like we're not going to accept money from the FA for broadcasting, and because we're not doing that, like we're going to play the game at a time that better suits us, and we'll lose out on that. Like for example, they'll like instead of having a kickoff at noon on a Saturday, they'll say, no, we're going to play this game at Monday at 8 p.m. And they're like, well, that doesn't work for us. And they're like, well, just keep your money and we'll just, you know, like kind of like during the pandemic, like teams could play like behind closed doors and they could play, like it doesn't matter. Like to like the FA per se, the FA doesn't care when you play the draw. They don't care as long as you play it. It's the broadcasters that are like, oh yeah, like we want it at prime time on Saturday.
Right.
So it's like, because like if you live in England, like it doesn't matter. Like if the game's on a Monday night at 8 o'clock or a Sunday at 4 in the evening, if you're gonna go to the game like that, like for the people in the stadium going locally, that's not gonna change for them. Like you go to whatever night, like Premier League plays Monday, those games sell out. Premier League plays Thursday sometimes. Like it doesn't matter when you play, the game's going to sell out. It's the broadcasting. But
okay, that makes sense.
But I mean, I get where Pep's coming from though. Like I mean, it's not fair. It's definitely irresponsible. I'm surprised no one got injured from Man City. Kevin De Bruyne, I thought for sure his hamstring was going to pop off, but they made it through.
Yeah, but also Pep has the bench to support a Wednesday and then a Saturday game.
Well, and yeah, I mean, yeah, one of the biggest benches, one of the deepest rosters in Europe. Just like you want to play the same starting lineup against Madrid and Chelsea. Let's be honest, you don't really need to play the same lineup against Madrid and Chelsea. You could have played your B team,
right?
Ortega could have led those guys to a victory. So, I mean, I get it, but.
Also, I mean, I don't know. Like, again, Arsenal played the same day on Wednesday, same time, and then they played on Saturday as well. I get it was a few hours later, but I mean, it's like 6 hours that big of a difference.
They hate those morning games, man. They hate them for whatever reason. They hate the morning games.
Okay.
And I don't know why, but I mean, so I mean, what's your take? I mean, yeah, I agree. I agree with Pep on this, and you.
Yeah, they just need to be more open to rescheduling, I think. I mean, I get it. I get that everyone has money on the line, but like, I do feel like people's safety should come first. Health should come first. Yeah. And so they should be open enough to be like, okay, I don't know. Well, sure, we'll reschedule this. Everyone's still going to watch it.
Yeah. Or write the contract in a way that says like, if this would be fine if we didn't go to a penalty shootout in the Champions League.
Right.
But if we, exceed this many amount of minutes in like a 4-day period, like FIFA has a rule. Like, so take it out of like you can't, like pros can't play, and then like I know it's such a sticky thing because then they'll say like, okay, well Manchester City they have, their roster has 30 guys, like they can play a completely different 11.
Right.
That's also, but I mean, who knows? What do I know? What do we know?
Well, before we leave, let's stick with the Champions League and give us a rundown on what happened with Barcelona.
Well, I mean, what was it? They're calling it the reverse remontada. Barcelona's in pole position and they get basically embarrassed at the Montjuic pronunciation check.
Yeah.
They get embarrassed in Barcelona by PSG. One Ousmane Dembele hit a half volley out of this world, to which I got a text from you, and I quote, "I love Dembele." He said it. He said that. And an overall poor performance from Barcelona. Went down to 10 men. Ronald Araujo, again, foul on Barcola, who, his teammate had some choice for it. So I think that's what we're really into, because I don't think anyone's surprised that PSG bounced back on Barcelona. Like, that one was written in the stars. Or were you
I
surprised?
mean, it was crazy because they were. I mean, even in the first until 29 minutes into the game, Barcelona was still going through because they were up 2 goals, 2 goals. Then in overall, like 1-0 in this game, 2 goals overall. So, yeah. Sorry, keep going.
Rafinha
It was
with
just
the
so.
braids,
Whoa, one more thing. I was in a bar
back
with
to
some
back.
PSG friends, French
Say it again?
friends. I was in a bar here in Spain, in Barcelona, not far from the stadium, watching it with French friends. And so but the Catalans hate Dembele. I cannot explain what they were saying to him. They
Oh.
hate that.
We need to take a closer look at that, because I mean, okay, I mean, so here's I'll just say this. I understand why Xavi might feel a certain way about Mr. Dembele. He rode for that kid. He's like, I need him, and Dembele played good football for him, but the club didn't want to give. I mean,
The club,
what
yeah, the club did him wrong.
Yeah, the club Barcelona, Xavi. I'm gonna be honest. I love Xavi Hernandez. He's one of my favorite players. One of my favorite managers. Good, bad. Take the good with the bad. Whatever. But Barcelona treats their players and their managers poorly, and their contracts.
We've been saying this for years now.
Partners, yeah. So it's like when he celebrates, he's celebrating against the club. He's not celebrating against Xavi. And the fans, you guys, your club does you wrong too. Like the club's doing everybody wrong. Like you can't, you gotta understand where he's coming from. And also, I mean, it's Champions League. You just put your team in pole position. And you're French. He's French. What do you expect? Anyway, let's get to the comment though. So after the game, Ilkay Gundogan, in an interview, someone asked him about the incident of the red card against Barcola from Mr.
First of all, do you think it was a red card worthy?
So here's the thing. Technically, yeah, it was a red card. It technically was a red card. I think that in a situation like that, I feel like it probably would have made more sense just to say oh yeah, maybe he was, because it was so close to the box. It was maybe he was in the box. Let's just give him a penalty, and then he doesn't get sent off, and we have ourselves a game. But I mean, goal. Was it even a goal scoring opportunity? Not even really. It's just he was the last man. So
Yeah.
I mean, do you disagree?
No, I mean, it's just that it's hard because, to your point, what is a goal scoring opportunity? What is a clear and obvious goal scoring opportunity? And also, I get that it was shoulder to shoulder, but Araujo is a big dude and Barcola is a tiny guy.
Yeah.
So let's say that was Mbappe that he was up against shoulder to shoulder, or I don't know, let's say that was Holland. He would not have fallen over. So it was just hard. It was hard because it was pretty silly, but it was smart by Barcola. And I mean, and to your point that you're getting at right now that I interrupted you with Gundogan, you have to think. So go ahead finish up this.
That's the thing. You just got to think. So yeah. So this is what this man's under fire. By the way, this is German international.
Is he?
Said,
People are hating on him.
Huh?
People are hating on him.
Yeah. Oh yeah. A lot of people.
Okay.
But he said basically, if Araujo fouled Barcola, I guess it's a red card. I haven't seen the replay. Blah blah blah. Of course, I would have preferred to concede a goal there or give the striker 1v1 against, Ter Stegen, going down to 10 men.
Correct.
With so much time left, just killed us. In these crucial moments, you need to be sure to get the ball. If you don't get it, you have to stay away. Araujo took exception to that. A lot of Barcelona fans, a lot of ex-players took offense to that, saying you don't say these things. What do you think?
I mean, I can understand why people would say you don't say these things, but it's someone has to. Someone has to say these things. You can't. It's just crazy because I was watching F1 today, and we watch football every single week. And Lance Stroll, who I think is just an awful driver, but he rear-ended Danny Ricciardo and blamed it on Ricciardo. There was a brake check. Everybody's braking in front of him, so everybody's braking, and Stroll doesn't. Just runs into the back of him, blames it on Ricciardo, calls it a brake check. No one takes accountability, is my point. You can't keep saying you're right. You're right. This shouldn't have been a penalty. You made the right decision. The ref made the wrong call. Everybody hates us. Blah, blah. No, you have to check yourself sometimes.
Yeah.
You made a bad decision. It resulted in a red. You put your team under. Like, it wasn't even that it had 10 minutes or 20 or 30 minutes left. This was in the first half of the game when you're still up.
Yeah. Yeah.
You have to be called out sometimes. And so, I don't know, maybe Xavi didn't do it and maybe he did, who knows, but you have to be called out. And we know Ilkay as like a leader who just won the triple, right?
Yeah.
He won everything you can nearly in England, and like, he's coming from a place, he knows what he's talking about. So don't get offended, don't get upset, just like, take it like on the chin a bit and accept the mistake and move on. That's how I feel about it. Like, maybe, sure, don't say it in public, I guess. I don't know, but it has to be said. It had to be said.
Well, but here's the thing. He didn't. It's not like he said like, oh, like he's a bad player. He makes bad plays. He was just like, yo, like if you're gonna go for that, you got to make sure you get the ball. Like that's
right.
No lie detected. He didn't like. He's not criticizing him personally. All he's saying is like, you got to be sure you got the ball. That's it.
Right. That's right, and he's right.
But
and then Rojo was like, well, I have my own opinion on that. Like, what's your? I want to. If he's like, but I'm gonna keep it to myself. What's your opinion? What do you?
Like, was your opinion like you can't be, new to the club and tell us how you feel? You can't come from winning the treble in Manchester City and come here and hold us to a higher standard because you've been here for 7 months. Is that what you're gonna say? And I like Rahul. But obviously, I got the Ilkay Gundogan jersey. So like I've been a fan of his for a long time, so I'm a little bit biased. But I don't see the problem, and it's like honestly, and I don't think any less of a Rahul. Like, it was a stressful moment. He's a young, talented vice captain of Barcelona at like, what is he, like 24 years old? So like there's no hate. You made a mistake. You wouldn't. I just don't. I mean, I didn't expect you to beat PSG anyway. So I just like, it's like, I feel like this is like you still got a shot at La Liga. You could win El Clasico today and put yourself in pole position, redeem yourself. Yeah. Hear the hard truth from a senior member of the team. Take it on the chin as you were suggested and keep it moving. It's not that deep. My wife likes to say that. It's not that deep. This was not that deep. This is a mountain out of a molehill. Like, you're all pros. So quit tripping.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get one more topic in before I got to get out of here, Brooks. Let's see. We got, I'll let you decide here. So we could talk about the EPL is heating up, right? I think we kind of just threw in also like El Clasicos today. That's kind of La Liga in a nutshell. Whoever wins that, wins that. I guess quick shout out to Xabi Alonso, Leverkusen, right? Good job, guys. Broke the 10, 12, how many ever years in a row Bayern has been winning. Harry Kane's going to go another year trophyless unless he can pull out the UCL. We'll all be rooting. I'm sorry that Arsenal couldn't do it. We'll all be rooting for Real Madrid, I'm sure. Okay, now, should we talk about the EPL final?
Sure.
Okay, so I just want to know how you're feeling right now. Liverpool is playing. Man City is still out of the question as long as Arsenal can go undefeated. So I just want how are you feeling right now, Mr. Arsenal?
It's tough because I think I talked about this a couple weeks ago. Like, one of my friends 3 weeks ago was like, hey, like, do you think Arsenal can do it? And I was like, I'm going to say no just because it's not in their hands, because at that time Liverpool hadn't lost yet. They were still even on games and ahead on points. But since that time, because I told him, I was like, if it was in Arsenal's hands, like it was last year, this year, then I would rate them to win the league. And then, like, right after I said that, a week or so later, Liverpool lost, which put Arsenal ahead on equal on points, ahead on goal difference. But then Arsenal lost later to Aston Villa. So I look at them and I look at who they have coming up. And it's not that they have a tougher schedule. Everybody plays the same amount of games, same teams. It's just that theirs come down to the end of the season. They got Chelsea coming up next. They play United. They play Tottenham. And I think they play like Everton or Sheffield. I don't really know who the other one is. But anyway, I'm going to just say no. I'm going to say no because they have to count on City to lose.
That's right. Point. Yeah, City would have to lose because they're only on 32. So they'd have to lose game. Mm-hmm. So it's a sad state.
I wish that I hope they lose, but I don't think they're going to. I think that, honestly, to be honest, yeah, Arsenal can win every remaining game, but so can City. So I think it's another 1-2 City Arsenal in this season.
You're probably right.
So, I mean, the good news is, our City has been playing a lot of minutes, but they don't play this weekend. They play next weekend in the Premier League. So, it's like they kind of have everything going for them. What do you think, though? What do you think? Because I know at the beginning of the season you said Arsenal will win the league.
Yeah, that's when I didn't think they would have lost. Was it Aston Villa? Yeah, because I think it
Again.
was, Leon Bailey, Ollie Watkins hit him with that one too. I'm gonna be real with you. I think City's gonna go for back to back with an FA Cup domestic double. I hate to say it, but if I'm being real, that's how I see this. I hope it doesn't, but that's what I see. That's what's in the tea leaves. That's what's in the tea leaves.
The crazy thing is Tottenham can beat them and do something good for Arsenal. It's like the last game of the season, I think, or like close to the last game of the season. Which would be so crazy. That's if Arsenal wins every game.
We'll take it 1 week at a time. We'll be checking in every week for the next 4, I guess technically 5 weeks, unless there's an international break that I don't know about. But okay. All right, well,
cool.
I got to go, but people, thank you for hanging out with us for about 20 minutes. It's the Browser Football Podcast. Brooks, I'll talk to you later, man.
Bye.